because sometimes it's a case of one player coming in a little bit early, getting the crucial frag, and then another player not being able to be with him at that time. But we are now getting into our first map of the day, which is our angle, as we see the plane path come over to the southern side, all the way across from Kroyov to Milta Power. I'm ready for this one, John, are you?
Oh, I'm so very much ready indeed. But this plane path, really very kind to most people. Most drop spots are going to be accessible. You've got places like Zaki, Severny, Kameshki. Those are going to be a lot harder to get to, but that's only going to hit one or two teams. A lot of these teams are going to be really heavily accessed to their preferred drop location.
Absolutely, you can see Tempo just zooming in towards Pochinki already. It doesn't feel like anyone's moving out towards them as of yet, but you've got a big cluster of players coming towards georgopol side. We know that C9, they like to hold round crates, that's their area. Then they can move up to the top of Everest, get a nice bit of scouting location, and then push into the circle. What we're really waiting for here now is that circle itself, and then we can see where the rotations will come in afterwards. Omen heading over to their usual spot over in Milta, and they'll be hoping to get some work done over there.
Yeah, a little bit isolated there in Primorsk. That's Team K, so obviously one of our teams to watch, was just saying. So they're going to be left alone. There's nobody else anywhere near them. They're going to be pretty happy with that. They'll know that as well, keeping their eyes on the skies, but I think Novo probably the place to watch.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, Team Queso, they're a bit out of the way, like you're saying. Novo, however, two teams in very, very close contention right there. We'll be waiting to see what actually happens down in that side. But you got Garcia and Co. up towards farm. A little bit limited loot, but decent rotational options afterwards.
Looks like two teams currently trying to occupy South George as well, with two other teams just on the outskirts, but they'll be trying to move on forwards later into the game. School and apartments being vied for as well. Two teams have landed over there, but they'll be okay for now. Not really butting horns just yet.
Not as of yet, John, though. We've got Mazexis here, Vega, on the run. Halo on his head. I'm sure he's not going to do many good things this game. You know, he's out for blood right now. He wants to be able to get towards the top of the leaderboard. What is with Mazexis and having a very cutesy looking team? What's going on?
I mean, they got a vibe. They've got an aesthetic. They're playing. They're not just playing for the tournament. They're playing for our hearts as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, John. But we are just watching the beginning of the game here. Not much is happening. We'll see what happens as teams start to crunch together, as that play zone will shrink.
You have to wait and see where that first play zone lands, where we are going to be sending away from, as looks like a couple of early rotations starting to come in, as you say, from Mazexis. Oh, there we go. Back over to, I believe, the De Novo. We are going to see where those two teams did end up as well. Not really going to be fighting it out just yet. I think one of the teams did land a little bit further north. They're going to be playing in those compounds, so perhaps a little bit of rotational clash coming on. I think I can just see the south border of the circle there on the minimap, so it looks like it's going to be a southeasterly position, so not really going to affect too many teams that harshly.
No, it's only Team Queso stuck towards Quarry. We've got a long way to run, which means they're going to have to loot quick and then also have a difficult entry into the circle, mostly playing edge side. But this is Grunto Esports here. This is the team that Seven was town with, as he called it, his boy, Sixless. This guy from SSG moved to Cloud9, dropped from that team, and then has moved over into Grunto. This guy's had a bit of a magical change coming through. I mean, this is the dude that's had, I mean, it's a nice redemption arc from this guy. I think things went very well from him, and then he left Cloud9, and now he's on Grunto Esports back in PMPL. You know what? I'm really happy to see it. The guy's got a big heart at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's bounced about a little bit. Let's hope he finds his home with them. We'll see how they're able to perform. Of course, as we were saying before, they're looking to set the tone right now for the rest of the competition, so we'll see what they're going to be able to pull out the bag. Tempo Storm uncontested Pochinki as predicted. Unfortunately, no contestation coming through there. Sorry, Seven. We're not going to see that happen, not this time around. Maybe in the future, but for now, they're going to be looted up and pretty geared to the teeth. They'll be ready to take a fight.
Dude, they will. You can see them getting their vehicles on right now. You got two currently. And we'll come back to your old favourite, John. Never rotating just one vehicle. They've taken it on board already. We're going to keep spouting that one till the end of our days, aren't we, John? But they have two vehicles. They've got a motorbike as well as this police car, so all is very, very well. You've got Team Queso now. These are the guys we were talking about. They have to get a move on. Surprisingly, they've got level 2s across the board and pretty decently meted up here too, John.
Yeah, they're going to be pretty happy. I mean, they had a really easy looting session. They knew they didn't have any pressure from the north. No one really landing too close to them on military, so no one going to be rotating out to the eastern side of them, coming out of Primorsk. So they'll be okay for now, and they know that. So they're just going to chill. They're going to search every building, and they don't have too far to go. Although it's a little bit tricky to go a little bit further if you're going to run over those ridges like that. However, maybe a little bit of a clash coming in for Omen Elite as they take a little bit of fire coming on down, but it's only going to be one knock for now. Juicy is taken out and out in the open. I don't think they want to try and waste the resources to try and pick that one up, so I'll have to run away with their tails between their legs there, but they might want to swing around as well.
Yeah, they've got the hillside here, so they do have a little bit of protection. Also, a lot of vehicles force them a lot of defense right here, so they should be able to get over the Juicy. There's really not the best of sightline to destroy this vehicle for EX right now, so they should be able to get Juicy back up again. They've got enough vehicles. If I was them, really, I just wouldn't take this fight. It's a very strong position here. You've got the prone position on top of the veranda there. It's hard to push that player out. So this compound's pretty firmly in control of these players. So Omen Elite, just take the L, leave. Sure, you've got a knock, have to use some meds, but that's about it. Oh, but it looks like they're getting ready to move out or just move the vehicles in. 4 vehicles. Wow, this team's pretty rich.
Yeah, they're balling right now. They're having a great time. They are fully kitted, as are most of the players as well by this stage. We are out of the looting phase into the first circle stage. It looks like another fight for Omen Elite. They are really not coming into this one quietly. They want to stamp their name on the map and make sure people know to fear them. And rightly so. These guys, they're veterans of the scene.
G-Fan here, just watching XQ Gaming, holding a pretty legendary namesake here. Let's see what they can do in the PMPL. I'll see what happens, but they're just moving up towards the top of this hillside. It's a nice position, gives them pretty good scouting control going forward. But again, like you said, Omen Elite, they're trapped between a rock and a hard place right now. And crossing the road is going to be a big difficulty for them. If they don't want to do that, they've got to do a massive swing. Just waste a lot of time, and still they won't have found a home as of yet.
Not quite yet, but I'm sure they'll be able to get their foot in a door somewhere. Oh, so like Cloud9 are in a little bit of a fight as well. Just a knock for now.
Scuffle with loops.
Yeah, there's a headshot coming in, so I have to be worried about that. Looks like they might finish it out as well. Okay, so Cloud9 down to 3 players. That's unfortunate this early on, especially 62 players still alive. This is really early doors, so taking that hit early for one of the top teams, not what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, people were touting Adder as a pretty damn good player, so I've lost him from the roster just for the time being. He will be back, don't you worry. But for the now, Cloud9, like you say, 9 players remain for them. It'd be nice to know exactly where they are playing. I'm sure we'll find out that information very, very shortly. But Ace1 here, just holding their own in their compound, just keeping it nice and slow. That's how we do see the first couple of minutes here on Erangel, you teams. Because the compounds are so split apart here, John, you're going to have teams taking up residence and not really seeing many other players. They're just looking for safety for the time being.
They're just chilling. They're just vibing, dude.
It's first day.
That's all they're going for, you know? Yeah. You don't want to... It's ripples, not waves right now. That's what they're all looking for. They're trying to, just carry on down that creek and... try and not disturb the alligators.
Pretty much. You got Team Solid, so not quite an alligator, but a rhino here waiting. You know what? From the desk, I would say a rhino is pretty solid. I think it's scary to come up against. I mean, yeah. I think the hippopotamus is the true evil animal out of all of them. But the rhino, I wouldn't take my chances with him either. But here we go, the map screen coming up. We see most teams making their way up. Grunto didn't actually run into Alpha 7 too much, but it'd be interesting to see that Alpha 7 might want to try and hold onto this eastern bridge here. Maybe gatekeep Grunto. They will surely have seen them come in, but you can see this clump of teams now towards the middle of the map. Wildcard coming down towards Kultu, who are also in vehicles, so looking for a position towards Lumber. But that will be difficult. There's a lot of forest area around there, so Kultu could go for a bit of an ambush onto Wildcard.
This is going to be a really tricky cross for the teams on Military Island as well, because this is the way the circle's fallen. All of those teams are clumped in all of their rotation paths, so they're going to have to not only compete with each other, but they're going to compete with that blockade that's going to exist on the other side, ready and waiting to meet them with, well, teeth bared, and it's really going to be tricky for them to find that ground that they're looking for, especially with that density that they're coming up against.
Yeah, this is the big thing. I mean, we've got 16 teams still in this one, John, and we're heading into phase 3 very, very shortly. You can see this, it's pretty much directly set just underneath Yasna to the south. Farm is where Team Queso have managed to get themselves off to, but XQ very, very close to them, as you can see.
XQuest looking for the crash onto Team Queso. There's HCL to go down first. They will take the knock. Mystic very low, but does stay alive for now. Gets knocked, gets refragged as well. They are going to flush out Mystic. So they're down to 3. The cheesy boys are going to be unfortunate to start it off, but Marco, I don't know if he wanted to go for that vault. You can see him flooding around the side, but out comes the utility now. This is a slower portion of this firefight, and there's potential here for it to be the first squad wipe of the game. A nice bit of damage being tagged on out there, so be able to maybe use that and fall back. They'll have seen those hit markers as a little bit of first aid being used. They've lost one. Do they want to try and invest and go for those trades, or are they going to fall back blank?
Yeah, and I see XQ, they've got another player coming in to the fight, just moving that vehicle out of the way, Starlight there. But Team Queso, they've already invested one player. They want something out of this one. They want to hold on to this compound. Leaving this one now would be a dreadful shame for them. I mean, the issue is they didn't act fast enough, but what they do have is XQ locked down in this warehouse for the time being. The question is, do they have enough utility to take this fight, and do they want to invest as much utility early on?
They're pretty central in the circle, so they don't have a lot of time pressure to be worried about. It's a question of just purely, do you want this fight? Do you want to go for this? And it looks like XQuest certainly want to chase this one up. They know they have the numbers advantage. Marco,
he's got a lot of information here.
The buggy just blocking that rotation path, swings out wide, able to get one, hits the deck again, not a lick of damage, pops up, looks for more, will find it as well, looks for another spray down, and it's 3 for Marco. It is an absolute tear. They might lose 1, but 3 in kind, and it's Exil to pick up the final kill. XQuest demolished. Beautiful play from Marco.
Wonderful play from Marco. Like you said, he held just underneath the lip of that hill there, and then was able to get so much information they had no idea. He dipped up, got 1 kill in the confusion, dipped back down again, and even the circle is happy about that squad wipe as it lands directly on top of them. But now you can see Fuchs and Co moving down toward Team Queso. They're going to have another fight in their hands. Will they advantage up fast enough? Here is the third party, John.
Well, it looks like we're going to be having fondue because Queso's heating up right now. They are going to have to face off against all of this angry horde to the north.
They're just leaving them. They don't care. They're like, you know what? You hold on to that compound. We're not bothered.
They saw that kill feed. And they were like, okay, fair enough, guys. You know,
Marco's on fire.
Marco's popping off right now. We don't want any part of it.
Now returning to a little bit more of calmness, but looking towards the northern side of the circle, we've got C9 coming in, we've got Mazexis coming in, but Team Queso, they're not done yet, spraying out towards any team that would even try and pass them. Starting off Erangel with a big bang.
They are certainly making themselves a name to be feared, and it's kind of what we expected. We've seen how well these guys can perform on the global stage. We knew that these guys were on a trajectory for greatness, and it seems like that's going to start here. In game number 1, they are wasting no time at all in making sure people know who they are.
But hang on, John, I know you guys can't see the map currently, but we can. Grunto Esports somehow have flipped positions with Alpha 7 on that eastern bridge, and now it's Grunto who are the ones holding Alpha 7 back. They're going to try and make the cross down the vehicle, so we might see some kills come up on the feed soon.
Right on the precipice of that fight, but it looks like neither team going for it just yet there. Is everyone settling down now into the next phase 4 circle. Not really looking for too many fights, and in fact not much to be found except for right slap bang in the middle. There's a little bit of a close scuffle coming through. Team Queso and Tempo facing off. Oh, some shots coming through as well. And Rain goes down. The vehicle gets boomed.
Marco is, like I said, he was on fire before. This man, he's cooking up a barbecue right now. So we'll see if they can continue this kind of rage as we head towards the latter parts of the game. But again, it's still early here, John. 56 alive, 15 teams still remain. A1 with a lovely little spot on the top side. But now this is that fight we were talking about before. And look at the tricky spot that Alpha 7 are currently in, dashing around the side of this rock. And damn, yeah, this position is very rocky indeed.
They do have a little peek maybe under those walls. Unfortunately, some ankles can be broken here. And it might be pretty tricky to play around, so we'll see.
How do you get out of this one?
What Alpha 7 are going to be getting. I don't think you can. I think that's wedged. I think that's wedged.
Yeah.
Call the right
four-wheel drive on that bad boy.
Yeah, unfortunate there. They might not be able to get that one out, but they'll be backing it up. A little replay here. Marco, look at his POV. He was able to do so much work.
Yeah, and that's not easy either. That's not easy to do on PUBG Mobile, being able to make those kind of movements, dipping up and down from the blockade. Wow, that's some good stuff. And we also just saw Ayala there with the sniper rifle take out another player from Tempo. I believe he was rezzed up shortly afterwards. But again, look at this spot. That is not the best of smokes that you want. It does provide a little bit of cover. Here comes the US on the side. Come on, just give it a bit of a poke.
Abdul being bumped just a little bit, but they're dropping out the smoke. They're just drumping all over, and they will be able to send one away actually around the side. So looks like they're going for the beachway exits, and it will pay off. They are just going to disengage. Maybe a little bit of spray coming through, but oh dear, not too sure what happened there.
That did a barrel flip. Grotto Esports just witnessed a circus trick. I know, one player's out again. Rand did not expect this one, and unfortunately Alpha 7, after doing the most insane somersault on the UAS, will be taken down there.
Goodness me, they are certainly looking pretty acrobatic so far, but unfortunately they're going to have to bend over backwards to pull this back now. There are 2 players left. And they'll have to try and make it work. Team Queso locked in a compound at the moment. All fronts being contested right now. We're still up to 15 teams, and in phase 4, this is primed to drop down now. We're going to be looking for plenty of engagements to start to come through.
Yeah, Lazarus coming down to try and get a bit of a third party onto Grunto, but let's take a look at what's going on screen right now. It is Team Queso. Team Queso currently have a really good side swipe on all of these players. Kultu playing very close together. The thing is, the Team Queso start getting taken out one by one, things become bad, but it's a third party coming up from the side. I believe that might even be Omen Elite. No, it's Team Solid here. Rhino charging in.
Already going to be one taken down, but they are going to have to put a hold on that one for the moment. Team Queso still just able to sneak around the edges of this fight. They know that they don't want to take it, as Seal has Overwatch on these flanks, and if they push in, then they're going to know about it. Marco, though, goes down early. They're able to get the first knock. They haven't been able to get the flush as it is. Refrag goes for the spray, but it's Ayala to come out on top. Gets behind the door. 2 players down now on the push. He's going to go aggressive around the side. They have the heal up. They know where he is. He goes up the stairs, tries to get in through the door, and the Microzy is there. Team Queso, they will only go so far. 7 kills, but they will finish down and out, 15th place.
Yeah, so it's really not that good at all. It's more like finishing at around about 6th or 7th place there. So a little bit unfortunate for Team Queso, but they did come under a lot of fire, and if there's anything to go by coming to the latter games here, you know, Team Queso one to look out for. Ayla there from the scrims actually heading towards 84 kills total at the end of it all, so he tried to pull it back at the end, just couldn't quite do it. But now we're looking at Team Solid, who did come and try and get that third party in. Kultu replied very, very well in my opinion, knew they had to push their advantage then and there, take Team Queso out and find a little bit of a compound, a little bit of respite.
Quiet before the storm. 14 teams remain, 49 players, but plenty of full force fragging squads right now. Tempo spotted up on the hillside by Team Solid. They did manage to get their team member up, and there will be 4 as well, so they won't have lost too much on that fight, other than a little bit of armor, maybe a little bit of confidence, we'll see. And they have got a building, and they are currently pretty chilled out right now, but a little bit more to the center of the circle. Looks like Tribe and Omen are going to come into contact.
Yeah, now Mazexis looking towards Team Sol, but it's Omen Elite. Tribe taking a little bit of damage. Telly with a beautiful grenade onto Kingy. Mazexis just trying to do some damage onto Team Solid, but yeah, massive things coming through from Omen.
Tempo as well, locked in a fight, and looks like they are going to take a lot of punishment there. They lost a player early on, eliminated early on. That's two of the heavy hitters that we were talking about down and out in very quick succession. 15th, 14th as well. Both of them going to fall down, and now Omen Elite and Tribe are going to go into contact with one another. Still just carrying on that fight. There's just Sam alive for Tribe.
Yeah, and C9, we're on the western side of the map here, but suddenly they've flown in towards the middle, looking to try and find a third party. They were gifted a little bit of a loot drop, but favoring to just ignore that to get into the circle, get across that road early. You know, I respect that decision. Now they've got a good foothold here. They haven't been in the game so far very much. They've been more favoring getting towards that top 10 spot, but now they have to start doing something. Cult 2, though, coming up big.
They are starting to really frag out in the meantime. They've already managed to rack up towards 5 kills, make that 6 coming through, I believe, as they just continue to make these fights work for them and control in a really dominant position on the map. They'll have to try and make it work for the rest of it, as they do have to come into contact on that northeastern side.
And that's Mazexis now down. Team Solid getting a nice little grenade kill coming through. Grunto, though, they're still on the southern side of the map. They were a little bit of a tricky situation where they're being gate-kept by Omen Elite as well as Lazarus, but they've managed to sneak their way in. Unfortunately, they're in the middle of the fields here, John. Crossing this one is going to be so hard for them without being spotted, and there's 3 teams directly to the north of them.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. Cult 2 lose a player again, and Tribe get eliminated in that fight. Of course, they were down to 1, so that's the final player flushed out. Speaking of down to 1, Cult 2, they are being knocked around right now. They're not going to spot him out, as Team Solid have not peeked out, have not peeked the angle. Oh, goddamn. A little bit of damage being taken from
Paolo. Look at Paolo. He is in enemy lines, but a huge push here coming through from C9, all inside the crate. The reload has to go through. X is coming over the top side.
Oh, he drops down, he drops in, and it looks like he's going to go down as well. C9 still have a player alive. It's Beowulf. He's going to stall out the fight for now, but from the sidelines, they get eliminated, and it's disaster for the heavy hitters in match 1 blank. They have gone down in really suboptimal conditions.
All they had was a shack there, and you know what, Ace, they incorporated some damn weird little parkour moves, but it seemed to work. They had a player waiting on the sidelines. That's cool too now. We saw Paolo hiding on the sidelines, but it looks like he was found out finally. But Grunto still making their way in. Sixless still doing that work. Did take down Tri by himself beforehand, but now it's Loops coming on to X.
They're going to go towards the top, and it's Loops trying to throw them for a loop as they push on up and get yet another rattle down. They do trade 1 for 1. Paris Boy able to hold it down for now, but in they go, and he falls too. Need to try and get those refrags, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Huge kills being racked up right now for Loops. I'll be really happy with that performance, coming in with 5 kills now.
That was one of the most coordinated stair pushes I've seen in a long time, John. That was so well from Loops. Garcia just gets absolutely ruined there. Very unfortunate. Now Omen coming, trying to get a little bit of the action themselves.
They know that Loops are on the upstairs. They know that they've just had a fight with Izame. They'll have to fall down.
That's
really nice nades coming through. That is absolutely huge. It pushes them out and forces them to take an unfavorable position.
Lord.
Huge nades again, but they trade it back. Juicy is going to go down. They have to try and take control of this garage. All of the vehicles in their possession right now, but Loops can try and drop down around the side.
Smokes all coming down. Omen just wanted to delay the push right now. They don't have to heal up. Surprisingly enough, though, Loops, they're getting all the loot that was upstairs, so they are so good when it comes in terms of medical assistance. And now Omen, they're showing a house with a load of angry bees all waiting upstairs, ready to descend upon them.
They might have to take the fight to the hive, unfortunately, but they are certainly very worried about their current situation. Holding on to it for now. A little bit of pre-fire coming out. Not too sure what he's shooting at there, but they are going to lob a little bit of harassment down towards the lower half of this garage. Is full of smoke, and no one really wants to take this fight. Pulling the trigger now could prove to be disastrous, but we're down to 6 teams.
Yeah, Wildcard in a really good position toward the northern side, but next circle about to pop very shortly. If it can go either side of the road, it's going to cause problems for a lot of people. Grunto Esports still trying to make their way in. Sixless, I think, is currently out in the circle. No, he's just about in there. You can see him beginning his snaking shenanigans once again.
Goodness me. Well, starting to get to the point now where those points really will matter for players. placement. There's huge leaps about to come on through.
That's an awful circle, John, there, right in the middle of the road. People will have to die if they want to cross over to it.
I have to try and expend some of that utility, and in fact, this garage fight might prove fatal for that. They've used so many nades, they've used so many smokes as well. How many do they have in reserve?
I know, it's ridiculous in there. It's getting very smoky indeed. Someone left the Team Queso barbecue on for a little bit too long in that house. Right now, Team Solid making their way into, you see Wildcard just towards that side. Pretty much their only cover is this loot box, but it's very good cover indeed. Won't get destroyed, and they can hide behind it for quite a while. But Team Solid just creeping their way in now. They can see the smokes coming through from Wildcard. They do have a vehicle. Enigma takes a lot of shots, does drop out, but he's in cover.
They force the reload, and that might allow the rest of the team to make a better crossing. Not too sure if they're going to get the flush out. Still alive for now, but no. Loops lose a player in the meantime. Oh, a lovely nade. That might just be on target.
Enigma's done, yeah.
Ticking down. Yeah, he's no way getting out of that. In fact, the rest of Wildcard taking a lot of damage as well. They're trying to rattle it down, however. Asa, one of the players we were going to be looking out for, remember, as well. Wasn't playing at this sort of level before, so he's coming through and he's doing a lot of work already now into the final circles. Team Solid coming into that firefight, and he's already taken 2 of them down.
You can see on the bottom right of your screen there, the 8-man house party is still in effect.
Okay.
The top though, and that's the time for Omen to go in.
They might want to try and find Loops, and they will be able to get one, but a team knock coming through onto Juicy, and Nico goes down. It's disaster as Loops do get eliminated. They manage to make themselves into that top 4. They'll be able to go for the res, but the close push. Sixless trying to rattle it on in. The snake has risen. He's trying to strike, but thinks better of it. Was trying to capitalize, but now has to fall back.
I can't believe he even went for that. He almost took down a player. That could have gone so much better. Now they're trying to throw some grenades over towards him. He has the VSS. Pretty famous for using this thing. It is absolutely phenomenal in the hands of someone who can use it. Iron sights on the M4. Finds one. It's flashbacks to Berlin, John. SSG6 come into effect, but this time under a new name of Grunto.
They're going to be pretty happy with this performance right now. The team up to 7 kills right now. Omen Elite have 9 on the card, so some pretty heavy hitters coming through. As Wildcard still going through. A nice flush coming out, and they will be able to get the knock. Omen able to find Aesor, though, in the meantime, so that is going to be the end of his story for this game, but he's done a lot of work for them so far. Down to 8 players remain. Sixless just in this next circle.
If he can make third, it will be a massive victory for him. Just about gets through the right time. There's a player on top of him, gets in the vehicle, tries to drop out, won't find anything. 4th place is not a bad spot indeed to find there by himself. Leapfrogged about 4 teams on his own. That is massive.
But in the meantime, that fight is being watched like a hawk, and Team Solid will take the knock. Omen Elite, however, they're up to double digits in kills. They're doing a lot of work. Wildcard Gaming holding it down with 1 now. A total of just 1 kill, it seems, on their boards. So they're just trying to go for that placement, but with only 3 teams left alive, if they can ladder up into second, they'll be more than happy. And Omen Elite right now, the Juggernauts, 4 players alive versus 1, and versus 1. There's really not too much more they can do on the other 2 teams, but try and survive for as long as possible.
This is fantastic, though. Just watching Omen, who have gone through so many iterations, almost making it here and there, have such a dominant performance with 4 members left in this final circle, just 1 player remaining. It's Wildcard going down in second, but Omen Elite, they take first.
They're going to